Welcome to the RSI Trade of the Day. My name is Benjamin Poole, head trader here at Verified Investing. And I'm starting to get more comments on my videos. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Even comments like, hey, you're making a lot of mistakes. It's beneficial for me. It allows me to say, all right, maybe I should slow down a little bit, may be a little bit clearer on what I'm talking about to give you guys the information, because ultimately that is the goal of the show. I want you guys to walk away with some good information, actionable trades for today, and different levels to look for. So anything and whatever you guys have, throw at me. If you guys want to talk about RSI, or you want to talk about my cool hat, VI shirt, whatever you guys want, it doesn't matter. Leave some comments. I really appreciate it. I'm open for anything. So thank you guys again so much for leaving those comments. And Walmart yesterday didn't get into our levels. Unfortunately, there was not a big enough sell-off in Walmart. I still look, based on the relative strength index, it still seems as if Walmart has further downside to go. And so if that's the case, I still like that particular level that I gave you guys yesterday. And let's go ahead and just go over the RSI recap. Here is the Walmart trade. All right, so I was mentioning that I didn't give you this level based on any relative strength index. However, there's this gap fill, and it's a minor gap fill at $95.05. Walmart doesn't normally move heavily on the back of earnings, or really any time. I mean, every once in a while you get these decent moves to the downside, but 6% before getting a bounce. And so from the peak, prior to the earnings release, this was about a 5.5% move, which means that 7% would be a great opportunity for us to enter a trade. 95.05 would have been an excellent level. Unfortunately, again, it didn't get down there. So what I have done though is looked at the charts. So the relative strength index stayed pretty low the entire day. I was actually anticipating a little bit more of a float down. It did get above the 70 towards the end of the day several times, but if you notice, there's really no volatility. I mean, 67 cents, 0.07% move higher on the back of Walmart, which means that the sellers are still in charge of Walmart. Sellers are pushing this the price down. And so 95.05 could be a key level for a potential bounce going into today. All right, so let's go ahead and just go over another chart setup. So the first one I wanted to talk about is Nvidia. So I did go over Nvidia. One of my members in the live day trading room said, hey, why were you targeting Palantir at a gap fill and not Nvidia? So when we're taking a look at charts, we want to look at extensions of moves. So for example, Nvidia from the highs, it's down like 7%. This is one of the stocks that I stay away from as far as looking for key support levels with just a minor pullback. And the reason is because I look for volatility. When the volatility is sucked out, the relative strength index doesn't work, and support and resistance levels don't work quite as well. Although you did get a bounce, a slight bounce off of that gap fill on Nvidia, you notice what happened. It actually flushed through both of my key technical levels the day before. So here is the chart. So this was a couple days ago, right, where it flushed this gap fill, and then it actually flushed this low pivot. It did get a bounce above that, so you could have made money. But the vertical nature of this move was so small that there's no advantage for me using the relative strength index, or the stretch reflex is essentially what I consider. So that's one of the reasons that I look for more of an extended move to the upside or the downside. All right, so the next chart is XPEV. This chart of XPEV, although you did have a nice move to the upside, and this is on the intraday, so this is the 1 minute chart on the relative strength index, had this really big peak. And then I had some resistance level at $22.25 and then $22.85. It did pierce this level. What I'm seeing though is the relative strength index is staying above this, above the 70 and above the 30. Although it did drop here again, based on the fact that there was like 1% move on this stock, something that was up 11% yesterday, it favors a move to the upside. And as you can see in the pre-market is heading higher. So what I've done is I've isolated a level a little bit higher. Let's go ahead and switch over here. So $24.56. You have this pretty big gap fill. It could get a pullback here at 23.81, but again, basically what I was telling you guys about on Nvidia, it needs to be an extended move. And based on the fact that yesterday it had an 11% move, the $24, the $24.56, or the level below that, it's not going to be an extended enough move for such a small stock. One thing that I've noticed is these stocks, when they get momentum behind them, can really move. A caveat here is check your brokerage. Make sure that there's short shares available, because if not, then you can actually get stuck in this if you're trying to short this thing. All right. So again, that level on XPEV, if there are shares available, would be $24.56. BILI stayed really, really weak. Again, stayed towards the lower end instead of the upper end. You're getting a little bit of a bounce pre-market, not a big bounce, but based on the fact that the relative strength index is staying down, I'd still anticipate further sell-off in BILI. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go to the intraday chart. Okay, so the relative strength index is getting closer to the 40 on a pretty strong stock. So if it heads down into this gap fill, if you're looking to go long on BILI, or a place to add, $22.86 for me would be a great opportunity to start a position. If it drops below that, it could head all the way down to this gap fill. Jay Powell does speak today at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, so there could be an excess of volatility. So you might want to wait 15, 20 minutes after that to let the stocks kind of settle in before you make any decisions. But ultimately, that will be up to you. All right, so the next one I'm going to go over is Wayfair. Wayfair is putting in some really nice negative RSI divergence. It's very vertical on the stock. One of the things that I look for is potential trend line breaks. So you've got this upsloping trend line that connects this low pivot right here at $34.15. Hits it again right here at $55.38. So if you're a bull on Wayfair and anticipate Wayfair going up, you could enter this trade at $68.61. This would be around the third hit of this upsloping trend line. And then I want you to notice that there's another upsloping trend line right here, based on the fact that you pierced it here, and now here is the extra support level. If you start breaking down, then you can get price action to head down to this upsloping trend line, and then even come down a little bit lower if this if this upsloping trend line does end up breaking. It is overextended, so it is due for a pullback. So that would be the first level that would even remotely be interested in something like Wayfair. Wayfair on the other side, if it continues higher, you get this double top right here at $90.94. All right, CRDO. Before I go into CRDO, let's go into OKB. OKB had some news that it's getting rid of half of its shares. It's burning half of its coins, really decreasing the amount of shares availability or shares available. So that is what caused a big increase. However, what I'm seeing is that you did have a nice peak on the relative strength index, and then price action headed higher, but it didn't create a higher high on the relative strength index. It was basically parallel. So I consider that a negative for OKBUSD. So I do anticipate a pullback. If you can get this around $250 and short this thing, you could probably take 30, 40, even as much as 50%. And that would be on OKB. So I've got this level right here at $257 right here. Could be putting in a potential topping tail. Not negative RSI divergence, but basically neutral RSI. So it does favor a move to the downside with this extended move. If you notice from the lower end, that's a 482% move. Altcoins don't move like that quite as much anymore. And so for me, this is signaling an overbought condition and it favors a pullback. All right, CRDO. CRDO is going to be the trade of the day. So we started this day with a nice pop up on CRDO, and then you had this price consolidation. You did get below the the 30 a little bit right here, and then created a little bit of positive RSI divergence, and then a continued float. We are dropping pre-market. We're down to $108.30. However, CRDO will be my trade of the day, so I'm going to go ahead and hit that zinger. So if CRDO heads up to $118.74, for me, that wouldn't be a substantial move. It's about a 7.5% move higher. I would be interested in taking a short play on this. And the reason is you got this big gap fill. You would also try to recapture this upsloping trend line right here, which is an upsloping parallel channel, is really what it is, with a possible downside target. For a swing trade would be $97. However, for the day trade, we'd be looking for about 3%, so about a $3 pullback on CRDO. So my trade of the day is short, $118.74 on CRDO with a $3 pullback. So right around $115.74. Now, if you're getting into this as a swing trade, you could look for potential more downside with a stop out at the double top. But for me, because I would be day trading this, my position size is going to be quite a bit substantially heavier. And so that's why I wouldn't hold it for $97. But if you're a swing trader and you're looking to short it, $97 for me would be an excellent target to look for on the downside. So that's what I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. And again, all comments are welcome. So please scour the charts. Show me what your setups look like for the relative strength index. I would love to go over them with you guys. And stay tuned. Gareth Soloway is going to be going live in less than 4 minutes with the verified game plan. If you guys like what you guys see, please like, comment, follow, ring that bell so you can get notified. 8:45 every morning. I'll be here with you guys, and we'll see you guys next time in the charts. Take care.